Hi you guys, welcome back, and my name is Tracy and I am the Practical Prepper, and today I want to talk about the drought that is affecting our country in the basically southern part of our country, all across the country, and how this is going to affect the prices in the grocery store down the road from now. If you're a prepper, you need to look at what's coming, and some things are sudden and there's no warning, and some things there are warning signs. And when we're looking at prices for the grocery stores, we can look at the world events like the war in Iran, the Strait of Hormuz, what's happening with the fertilizer, and we can listen to farmers. And the other thing we can do is we can look at the drought monitor, and the drought monitor for our country for the last couple of years has not looked too good. And it has gotten so bad that it is affecting the crops that grow, the wheat crops in particular, that grow all across the southern half of the country. So right now, America's wheat farmers are facing a real struggle with the drought. They have gotten barely any rain across the entire southern United States, and that is going to affect the wheat prices. And wheat prices affect our entire food system. First, it affects the obvious things like bread and pastas and cereals and all those sort of products like crackers and things like that that are made with wheat products. But it also goes into feeding livestock. Any livestock, any like say, I'm not even sure what all they eat, but any animals that are in farms that eat wheat are going to be affected because the wheat prices are going up and those animals need to eat those things. So the prices of those things can also go up. So right now, this is really putting stress on our farmers, and they're talking about this, and this is going to change how their crops, how many crops they yield, how much they have, what the cost of those crops are, and what that's going to do to our grocery prices down the line. We may not be seeing it much now, but if you're not, you're going to be seeing it. So this is something we know is coming, so it allows us a little bit of extra time to prepare for it. So right now, this Great Plains drought is affecting Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska, states like that. They have very low moisture in their soil, and they're having heat stress that's damaging their crops. And we're at the point now where even if they get sort of the rain that they need, it's kind of too late in the game. These crops are already past that point of where the water will be useful to them. So this is what the USDA is saying. The USDA put out a report, and they said that the U.S. wheat production may hit its lowest level since the early 1970s because of the drought and poor yields. So that's a big deal. Around 69% of the U.S. winter wheat areas are currently in drought conditions. So wheat is usually a pretty tough crop, but even wheat struggles when the fields stay dry for too long and temperatures are swinging wildly. So the farmers are under massive pressure right now. They are talking about lower yields, the rising diesel costs that they're having because the oil prices are still very high right now, the expensive fertilizer because of the war in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz and the problems with that. So they're not able to get the fertilizer that they need. So farmers are cutting back. They may not even try to grow as much. And they're not even necessarily going to try to harvest the damaged crops because they're just not worth it. What they're saying is that this is becoming financially unsustainable for them. And when it's unsustainable for them, that's going to affect us and the prices. Basically, the farmers are dealing with sort of 2026 costs of everything, but they're only getting yields for like 1970s, like crop yield levels. So that's a problem. That's a problem for them. And if it's a problem for them, it's going to eventually be a problem for us. So what we can expect to see down the road in the next several months, what I have already seen in my area, and I don't know if you've seen it too, is like smaller packaging sizes. Like my 1 pound of pasta that used to be, 16 ounces, 1 pound of like spaghetti, it's now 12 ounces when you buy it. It's like they're making it look as much the same as they can, but it's not the same. It's less. Bread prices could go up to $8. Pasta prices, obviously, I just talked about. Cereal can go up. It's already expensive. Cereal is pretty darn expensive, so it's just going to get crazier. Flour prices would go up. Baked goods, anything that's baked, like crackers or muffins or anything that's pre-baked. And then the livestock feed. And then this connects to those beef prices, as we said, because, cattle, they eat some of that wheat. Chicken, prices, eggs, and dairy. All these things can go up because those animals also might be eating wheat. And so when their food goes up, the prices to raise them goes up, and then those prices get sent to you. And so right now, what people in the stock market have seen, now this is not my area, but they're already saying that the wheat futures have already moved higher because traders are expecting tighter supplies. So that's if you're in that world doing stocks. Grocery inflation is already starting to kind of get a little hotter. It's heating back up. So what can you expect? Prices are going to go up. Smaller packaging, like I just said, pressure. This is going to be more expensive animal feed. This is going to put pressure on lower income families, obviously, or even just medium income families that are already kind of feeling the crunch. It's going to get a little crunchier. I'm not saying that the stores are going to be empty. That I don't think we're at that point of saying that, at least not in the USA. In other countries that don't have as much money in general, this is probably going to cause some serious hunger issues. Here, we're going to see higher prices. What I suggest you do is, if you haven't already, it's time to really think about bumping up your wheat products in your pantry, and really all of your products is a good idea. But let's just say you want to make sure you have enough pasta for the year. I would go buy the pasta that you would need for the entire year, because pasta isn't that expensive. If you can, maybe every time you go in, buy extra pasta. Like maybe not just one, but maybe you buy like 5 things of extra pasta. So if you want to have enough pasta for a year for your family, say you have a family of 4 and you eat pasta once a week, then you're going to need to get 50 to 1 pound things of pasta. So I like to just get spaghetti, because spaghetti is really, they're straight, they're dense. You can do angel hair pasta as well. And they're easy to put into containers, and they stack very close together, whereas other pastas with kind of strange shapes, they don't pack as tightly together. So even though they might be fun and nice to have different shapes, for long-term storage needs and space saving, I like to get spaghetti or angel hair pasta. And I would just buy a lot of it right now. And obviously, if you can buy wheat berries, if you're into doing wheat berries and you have a mill at home, now's the time to buy those. You can buy flour up to a year or so worth of flour, but flour will go rancid eventually. So it's better if you can do wheat berries, because wheat berries can last for up to 25 years. So if you want to get some of those larger 5-gallon buckets of the wheat berries, it'd be a really good idea to do that now. Obviously, if you don't have a ton of extra money, even if you just buy a little bit extra each time you go into the store, then that's a good idea. So I just want to make it very clear. I don't suggest panic buying. I don't think we're in a panic situation. I think we're in a situation where we have some warning. And so it's like, hey, this is a good time to buy extra. So if you could do it all at once in one trip, if you have the money to do that. If not, maybe every time you go, you spend an extra $5 on wheat type products like pasta and those wheat berries. You can order those online. I'm not really sure. I don't think the regular stores sell those, but I've bought mine on Amazon, so I can put a link to that below if you would like. So just try to get ahead of the prices before the cost goes up. That's really all we can do right now. And if you're in a situation to do that, then I think it's a great idea to do that. So just to kind of wrap it up, some of the biggest warning signs of the economy often start quietly. Right now, farmers across America are telling us that conditions are getting tough. The question is whether this drought eases on time. I don't think it will. I think we're already too late in the season. So we know prices are going to go up. We know it's coming. There's no reason to pretend it's not going to happen. So if you want to position yourself a little bit better, you can. You have some information and now you can use it and maybe make some decisions that will help your family out. So if you look at a map of the drought over the last couple of years, that's by droughtmonitor.com. You can go look it up yourself, but I will put some on the screen as well of what the United States looked like 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and this year. So it really shows how the climate has changed all over the United States in the last couple of years. It tells where the droughts were, which were a lot in California, and where they really are now. And now they're really in the farm the major farming areas of our country, and they're just widespread. It's not isolated to like one state. It's really widespread. So this is just a good visual to see like what has happened and where we're at. So these are some articles that I found that I drew sort of my information from, and I think these are really interesting, and they've got some good numbers in them. It's a little dry and boring, but I think you should hear this. So I'm going to read it. If you don't want to hear it, you can obviously just not watch. So the U.S. wheat ending stocks in 2026-2027 are projected at 762 million bushels. That is down 18% from 2025 to 2026. Total supplies are down 11% from the previous year with lower production, more than offsetting higher beginning stocks and imports. USDA National Agricultural Statistics Service forecasts winter wheat production to be the smallest since 1965-66. Wow, that is a long time. And now here we are, with reduced production for all winter classes of wheat. In addition to declining area, yields this year are down with a significant widespread drought, which has particularly affected hard red winter wheat. That's a type of wheat. With acreage for durum and other spring wheat also down this year, U.S. all wheat production is forecast at the lowest level since 1972-73. I mean, that's like 50 years. U.S. winter wheat is sharply affected by dry weather this spring, with U.S. Wheat Associates estimating about a 69% under drought across the nation's winter and wheat production area. This is the important part. Wheat futures have moved higher as traders weigh how ongoing dry conditions will affect yields and harvested acres, according to market analyst Luke Muller, U.S. wheat market analyst, said in his May price report that dry weather remains the primary driver of recent price gains. Cash and futures moves have diverged in places, but futures are the main source of the rally. U.S. hard red winter wheat on the Kansas City Board of Trade was quoted up 24 cents to $6.83 per bushel, while Pacific Northwest soft white on the Portland market sits near $6.30 per bushel. So there's higher prices, which means it's going to be like when they sell it at a higher price, then eventually it's going to end up in the stores at a higher price. The U.S. Drought Monitor shows much of the Pacific Northwest is abnormally dry or in moderate drought, adding local pressure to bids in that region. So the Northwest is also in drought. So the South is really bad, but the Northwest is drier than normal as well. Local basis. The difference between a nearby cash price and the futures contract has largely held steady even as futures climb. Muller and Julia Debs, U.S. Wheat Director of Communications and Outreach, told Capital Press that the bulk of the price increase is stemming from futures, with basis remain. This is all dry, I know. With basis remaining relatively stable in most markets. They also noted U.S. prices have risen compared with other wheat origins as markets factor in drought across major U.S. winter wheat areas, like many northern hemisphere competitors remain in fairly good condition, blah, blah, blah. So the regional drought variance, severity of drought is not uniform, and that patchiness matters in final production. Miller and Debs say precipitation this spring is approaching the point where any rain, here's the part that's important, where any rain that arrives may be too late to help some fields. And we're already at June. Where are we at? I'm in early June now. It's like June 9th or something. I don't know. I'll put the date on this film. So we're already in early summer here. It's not late spring anymore. Growers and state groups are watching price signals alongside production costs. The Washington Association of Wheat Growers cites a general break even near $7.71 per bushel, a benchmark many producers use when assessing the marketing and retention decisions. The gap between current cash futures levels and typical break-even figures helps explain why futures strength has not yet translated uniformly into local cash rallies. Okay, that's it for my drought talk right now. I just want you guys to be aware that this is happening so that you can start planning for yourself. I think it's really interesting because I don't think there's any other way for us to tell what's going on except to look at what's going on. And you can't listen to the news. You can't listen to the government. But I feel like these these agencies that are in charge of things, they're putting these reports out that, you know, a lot of people don't really pay attention to. So if I do a story on it, maybe you'll see it and then you can think about it and decide for yourself if this means like, okay, I think I'm going to pay attention to this and I'm going to go prepare. So we can be practical, we can prepare, we can get what we need and provide for our families and be peaceful about it. And we don't have to hoard. We can get things a little bit over time. And that's a good way to do it. That doesn't put stress on the system if you do a little bit over time. If you do it more quickly, then okay, maybe that's a little stressful on the system, but you know, you got to take care of your family. So anyway, if you like content like this and you'd like to join me again, please hit like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye-bye. Hey, if you enjoyed that video, I thought you might like to check out this video next. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time.